Hey again, everybody. It's Bill Farquharson with Kelly Malazzi right there on that side. I think if I've got my split screen, because I can't see her in split screen right now, but in case you missed it last week, we're trying something different. And coincidentally, we're wearing the exact same clothes as last week. I mean, who knew?
This is my uniform.
This is it. That's right. This is what I require Kelly to wear. But we're going to talk today about selling digital, and specifically, how do you get your salespeople to sell digital? And this is kind of strange. It's kind of a strange concept, but your salespeople, by and large, don't like to sell digital. They don't want to. And Kelly, I'll ask for your thoughts in a second. My reasons are this. It's a highly technical sale, so we're going to push them outside of their comfort zone. It's complicated. It's not something that they can just throw out there. They're asked to explain it, and if they don't understand it, then they're not going to feel comfortable. Then they're just going to get tongue-tied and stop thinking about it. This is a big one. It's a longer selling cycle. Typically, the selling cycle in print is about 3 to 6 months. The selling cycle in digital can be twice that. I don't know if that's true as much as it was back when I was selling it, but still, it's a longer selling cycle for a lot of reasons. There's different input requirements. That takes time to make sure the file works. There's some education there. You have to convince the powers that be that they don't want big, large quantities, that small quantities are okay. So we're way outside of their comfort zone. Smaller orders mean smaller commissions. Now, Kelly, you've sold digital and you've sold variable and you've sold the equipment. Anything you would add to that list?
I mean, yeah, just generally speaking, it's just this big catch-all. I mean, today digital means even different than it did 5 years ago. And I think it's becoming more a requirement. I think it's becoming something that's just kind of an inevitability, but people are still creatures of habit, and anything that isn't familiar to them scares them. And because digital does mean so many different things to so many different people today, that, yeah, anytime somebody has to have the risk of exposing some ignorance, and I mean ignorance in the true sense of the word, that they just don't know, it scares people. And quite frankly, organizations tolerate that. So they're kind of going like, I'm not going to do it and you can't make me. So until the organization says, oh, yes, we can, and you have to do it, it's just going to be, it's what do we always say, Bill, if you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to keep getting what you're getting.
That's it right there. All right, then, 3-step process to get the salespeople to sell digital. Kelly, first it's on education. What do you think the sales rep needs to know in order to sell digital?
To me, Bill, this is all about the applications. Why do people use digital? How do they use it? And what's great about it? So we have to be able to talk about who's using it now, why they would use it, and show them some concrete examples of vertical markets that are using it. So it's all about making them feel comfortable with it. Because the truth of it is, folks, it sounds a lot scarier than it actually is. I mean, it's really a simple case of understanding. Like I said, why do people use it? What are the advantages of it? It's imagine if you were learning printing all over again for the first time. People put ink on paper because they want to communicate with people. This is just the exact same thing. It's just the methodology behind it is a little bit different.
Okay, so then basically learning how to talk the talk, the language, the lingo, making them feel comfortable. The second one that you also, you mentioned that in there as well, is to show them some verticals. Mm-hmm. I would want my sales staff to have 3 to 5 known applications for digital print. Mm-hmm. I want them to know the questions to ask, the outcome, the benefit, who to call on, everything that I could think of. I would want them to know soup to nuts. So
yeah.
They could go out, because if I know one application, if I know, for example, there's a way to help a bank to sell more to existing customers, how many banks are there in the area?
Right.
Or a college or a hospital or whatever. Find 3 to 5 killer applications, so that the reps feel comfortable going after the same kinds of companies, asking the same kinds of questions, and very quickly they learn what they're going to hear in response. They get that nice little comfort level. Mm-hmm. So, agree, Kelly?
3 to 5 is a great goal, but why not start with 1?
Okay.
And I think you've even been the one to always say this is no one, and as you said, no, it's stone cold. Like, be able to talk about who's doing it, and use those marquee examples, even if they're not your examples. Talk about what Lexus is doing with digital printing out of Utah or something like that, but know so that you can tell the story of this is why they're doing it, and most importantly, what the results have been. So 3 to 5 is a fantastic goal for somebody who really knows what they're doing. But for starters, I'd say the organization should nail down 1.
Sure, that's fine. The third thing is, speaking from the standpoint of the salespeople, pay them. Overcompensate for digital, especially initially. From a company standpoint, one of the values of digital print is that you connect with the client on a technical level. So all I really need out of my salespeople is that initial contact, because my technical person will come in behind them and then the orders can repeat. So if I overcompensate initially, because the customer, remember, the sales rep will follow his or her wallet. So whatever you want them to sell, pay them for that. Pay them the most for that. Get their attention. Otherwise, sorry, they're really not going to be all that interested. So a good compensation program might include bonuses for early orders. Go sell your first order. I'll give you an extra $100 no matter how big it is. You want to get them comfortable and get them to understand that, yes, as we mentioned, the orders are smaller, the commissions are smaller, but they repeat, and those checks cash just the same. Kelly, any tricks for when you sold for Canon? I know that you had some you used to help customers to grow beyond just selling the equipment. Anything else you used to say to them on this subject?
Yeah, I mean, I think the organization needs to make it prestigious. You need to make it seem as if this is the marquee offering of the future. And so make a big deal out of that one person who does it really well, and turn it into a competition. If you say, you talk about what Jim did, and, Jim's the new hero of the organization, and you have Jim talk about why he's enjoying, that experience too. I think you kind of turn it into a me too. Well, I want to do that too. But the organization has to value it and make it prestigious.
Okay. All right, terrific. Well, there's some thoughts on how to get your salespeople to sell digital. Kelly, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we'll talk to you all again next week in another short attention span webinar.